Good morning to all. I welcome you all for our mega event, Design Thinking for Novice, where we have seven great speakers from different companies who will be talking about design thinking with their experiences, insights, and case studies. All right. We have our next session by Shraddha Khare and Tejas Tamhane from BMC Software. So I invite them to on on the stage. So we have Shraddha Khare, who is currently working as EAC, as Enterprise Agile Coach for BMC Software. So she is a business process owner for Dojo framework in information services and technology. So she has a history of working demonstrating the innovation from BMC software in that particular space. So her co-presenter will be Tejas Tamhane, who is currently the lead Scrum Master at this BMC software. So he is currently working as business analyst and Scrum Master. So he looks at the business intelligence practice. Sure. Over to you, guys.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Shraddha Khare. I'm working as an enterprise agile coach, as Rohit mentioned. I'm with BMC now, it's 9 years. And I'm also a dojo process owner, which is a continuous learning initiative at BMC. My main responsibilities include mentoring and coaching the agile teams in our organization and within BMC. Over to you, Tejas.
Yes, thank you, Shraddha, and thank you, Rohit. This is Tejas. I work as a lead Scrum Master with BMC Software. And I really want to thank Shankar for that wonderful introduction session for design thinking. I'm really glad that what we are going to present is a little different, and it's maybe a different flavor that you all can experience. So quickly to give you the introduction, I know Shankar has already taken us through a great experience of design thinking, but I do want to take not more than 2 minutes and tell you how we've implemented and how we understand the design thinking. So design thinking is basically an umbrella term. Many out there you might have seen used to call it as a problem solving approach, where it begins with a problem, basically an understanding of people, and then ending it with the solution that is tailored to them. Often you must have heard it as a human-centered design or a user experience design. So this is what the design thinking is really all about. Let's quickly have a look at all the phases of design thinking and some of the actionable stages under those phases. So there are three phases of design thinking: immersion, ideation, and implementation, which has got about 5 to 6 actionable stages under it. First is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Under empathize, what we do is we make sure that we understand our target audience, just to make sure how they think, how they feel about it, any problem, any requirement that they've got. So here, how we do it is basically by running some interviews, or for that matter, running surveys, just to make sure how they're feeling, how they're thinking, and how they would probably act in certain cases. Define is where we come up with a problem description based on users' need. Ideate. Now, this is a very important thing. Design thinking and ideate is really important concepts to go hand in hand. This is where we make sure that we identify key stakeholders, we get them onboarded, because we know that there is no innovation in isolation. So we have to make sure that we have all key people on board who can do the brainstorming. Under implementation, we do the prototyping. Now it comes in different shapes and sizes. All we have to make sure is we prepare something that can be tested by real people, basically the end users, where they can provide us feedback. And under test, all the feedback that we've received, we try and implement that. Now, this is where the cost, budget, resources, everything is included. And this is where we come up with the full and final solution. So what here we are going to do is we are going to take you through 2 success stories of PMC. First is about Dojo, and second is ALM platform change. So I'll hand it back to Shraddha, who will take us through Dojo journey.
Thanks, Tejas. All right. So the word dojo basically it is taken from a martial art concept. I'm sure most of you will be aware of the martial art, where the people come and attend some of the trainings and they try to attain the various level of belts, which goes from white to black. For us at BMC, it is a virtual location where we are giving an opportunity to improve oneself by committing to a measurable level of knowledge within a discipline. So the same concept when it gets applied here, what we are trying to do is in various disciplines, which I'll talk about in a minute, we try to have people or employees go from white to black belt in a sense, getting to an expertise level in their core area. So next slide, please, Tejas. So Dojo, as mentioned, this is a continuous learning initiative. Now this is then that is before we implemented Dojo. I'm talking about around 2 years back. In our organization, which is right now comprising of 150 people, this is one of the organization in IT for us. The individuals had their own goals and contributions when they're working on their teams. We had very limited structured defined learning paths. They were working in silos and we had very minimal cross-functional teaming. And this entire continuous learning initiative was limited to only our organization, which is called as solutions delivery. But now, after implementation of Dojo, that is around now more than 2 years, what we are seeing as a good progress is everyone is working as a team. Now, when I say as a team, is we have around 6 to 7 different teams in our organization. Everyone works together. We have broken down the concept of working in silos. Now we have a very structured and defined learning paths. People are adopting and moving towards cross-functional skills. We are making sure that they are expanding across their knowledge length and breadth. We do have improved time to value, and this is more coming from when we are working together with the concept or with the frameworks of Agile and DevOps in place. We do have a pool of different mentors who works with the people, who works with the employees and try to take them to the next level in their belt attainment. And this program also helps in succession planning. And currently what we are focusing on is moving this program beyond our organization up to other 5 areas in ISNT organization. Now, with this entire process, what we are trying to build is currently around a couple of months back, we were looking forward for the employees to grow themselves in with a T-shaped skills. With this program, now we are moving towards attaining the H-shaped skills, which essentially means that you need to have expertise in more than one core discipline, whereas the working knowledge across various other functional departments or areas. Next one. So I think Tejas already mentioned these three broad categories of immersion, ideation, and implementation. What we are trying to do with the help of a dojo, we have segregated all our concepts throughout all the different 6 stages. Now, when we talk about empathizing, necessarily it means how the customer or our stakeholders will feel and think about the application which they are going to use. What is their intention? What are the problems we were trying to solve? So the three the three stakeholders for this application are the mentors, the managers, and the mentees, which are essentially all the employees. Once we figured out what are the roles and the people involved, we went to the defining stage where we started defining the disciplines. So the disciplines for us were example, if we talk about technical, it were Java, .NET, Salesforce, SharePoint, and so forth. If we talk about soft skills and leadership, it was one of it. And then Agile, DevOps, information management, data analytics are the common areas where we were looking for the people to go and increase their knowledge. So under each disciplines, various all 7 belts were defined. The criteria were defined what people need to learn when they grow from one belt to another. And this all happened with the roles perspective. Now, when we come to the ideation phase, again, the ideas were generated talking about how the app will look like. What do we need really want to have into the app? Whether people come and sign up for the belts, whether SMEs come and then assign the belts, how the managers play an important role. So all of these things were taken into the considerations from personas, and all the different features needs to be incorporated into the app, and how the look and feel. Now, once all of these 3 things were done, we moved to the prototyping stage where.
So under prototyping, we are making sure that, like I mentioned, the prototyping comes in different shapes and sizes. This is where we created Spike, something that we can do the POCs on, just to test into the big solution. After which we ran all of this into iterations. We did the demos. Now this is where the real important picture comes in. Real thing comes into picture. This is where we involved all key stakeholders with this dojo, and we got their feedbacks. And based on their feedbacks, we incorporated these changes. Further moving on to the test phase, again, these testings have happened in the iterations, and we did all the testings in feature by feature. Go on.
We ran into the iterations, we did this, and then the features were tested, starting from signing the application to assigning the belt and then awarding the belt. And when we moved to the implementation phase, where we went live with the dojo, but before even going live with the dojo, we did a soft launch of the application, where we tested actually with the SMEs and the managers how the things are working. Are we ready to go live? And after 2 months, last year in the month of April, we went live. Now we have all the practices and behaviors in place. We are governing the practices, and we are looking forward for relentless improvement with the help of a feedback loop. And we do have certain metrics in place, which I'll talk into the next slides. So to implement dojo for any of the organization, the different steps what are needed are, first we assess the existing learning model of that organization, how it looks like, and what all changes we need to incorporate from this platform. Then we train the workforce, essentially training their employees, their leaders to be onboarded on this program. And again, creating a mentor pool for them, and they work on the disciplines. And then we go live with the system, which is the third step. And the last step comes out as the sustenance of the dojo. And that is, checking with the help of metrics and so forth. Next one. So as I stated earlier, the problem statement, with the help of dojo, we are able right now to, get business value in these areas, the career progression of all the employees, the role qualification, succession planning. Yes, we can look forward for any existing employees who are ready to move to the next role if someone leaves the company, and is that person rightly fitting into the role, with help of broadening their area of knowledge using the shaped skills. Now we do have optimized educational budget, which is used across for this continuous learning, gaining certifications, or even internal trainings or external trainings. We do focus on upgrading people skills, talent management, and innovation. Yes, it is part of it. We regularly run the hackathons or guilds at BMC, which definitely are aids in continuous learning. And this helps to stay current in market, because every 6 months we go back, work with the SME pool, and check all the criteria which have been identified under belt. Are they still current, or we need to add or modify any of the content to suit with the current needs into the market? Now, as this first screenshot mentioned, this was the actual, implementation, how we did. These are all the different belts you can see from white to black per discipline. And the employee necessarily needs to select the discipline and the belt where he's willing to opt for. He signs up for that belt. Managers approve it. Manager approval is needed for, in a sense, if any cost is associated with it, for any certifications or any trainings identified. Then the employee works for it, assessed, working with the mentor pool to complete all the belt criterias. And once all the criterias are met, now this is again not happening on a very fast paced basis. There is a learning period curve needed, which takes you to a 3 months to 2 years of time period for each belt, whatever belt level you are at. And then the belt gets awarded and you can opt for the next belt. Next one, please, Tejas. So this is the core metric what we have derived is, before even implementing dojo, our training hours were limited. In this diagram, if you're able to see, we have a different source-wise distribution. So we do have internal training platforms, Udemy and iLearn, which we use for training purposes. Apart from that, others are something like if they are doing any external certifications or any external trainings. So if the total number of training hours we see in FY20, these has reached to these many number of hours, and this is from our entire organization. Around 5,000 plus hours total. Our employees has invested in continuous learning program. Next one, please. And the last one Space is the discipline wise belt. So as you see over here, these are the right now the current disciplines what we have in solutions delivery organization, starting with agile, data analytics to forth to the SFDC platform as well. And the numbers over here you will see the blue and the yellow bar. These are the maximum number of employees who have opted for these belts in these disciplines. These are the mandatory for each employee in our organization to go for these belts. That's why we have the maximum number of people over there. I think that's it. I would like to conclude here and pass it on to Tejas so that he can talk about the next case study.
Thank you, Shraddha. So as you can see, guys, what Shraddha mentioned, it's totally different than what a product development can be. So design thinking is pretty much applicable to any possible way you can just think of. Next case study that I'm going to take you through is Agile Lifecycle Management platform change. Now, those who are totally new to this term, Agile Lifecycle Management tool, it's basically issue tracking or bug tracking platform, which most of us use on a day-to-day basis. To name a few, Rally, Jira, VSTS. So all these are the tools that are there in the market. What we did here is we were using one of the ALM tools for last several years, and now we wanted to move to even a more efficient, cost efficient, and a user engaging platform. So this is where I'm going to take you through this case study. Now, what you'll see going forward on the screens would probably something different than what you've actually seen on the slide so far. So what I want you all to do is just try and relate what I'm going to tell you going forward, and then relate it with how I introduced you to the design thinking with all those phases and actionable states. So this is the journey map. So again, to many of you, it will be a new thing. This is one of the powerful design thinking tool. It works with companies' operational value stream. On the top, you'll see that how we plan to move from one platform to the other platform. We try to understand the goal, identify the vendor, cleanup activity. So while we move from one platform to the other, what is it that it is going to take us to get this migration successful. Get ready for the phased approach. We've got a couple of teams that we work with, so we have to make sure that we get productionized in a phased manner. The next thing is about prioritizing teams. Like I said, we have multiple teams. You have to prioritize based on which team is getting affected the most. Successful phase delivery, and that's how you move to the next platform. Now, this value stream can be mapped with the actionable states of design thinking. Now, initially, if you remember, empathize, design, define, ideate, prototype, test, and implement were the things that we had a look at. Now, here you'll see decide, learn, choose, apply, migrate, and completed. At the bottom, you'll see feeling and thinking. So this is where the empathize phase comes in, and we try and understand how the user are feeling and thinking about the existing system and the system that they want to move to get the better feel, to get the better experience. Now, this is where we try and understand the feelings. So under decide, the overall thoughts we had here is like, the platform that we were on, we quite loved it, but at the same time, we wanted to be more cost efficient and get a better experience within newly available tools in the market. But at the same time, we had this neutral thought that, would there be a challenge to move everything from the existing to the new platform. Now, this is where and we took the decision that we now want to go to a more efficient ALM tool. And the roles we got involved here is a product management team and a product owner. Now, they collaboratively will give a thought over it. They'll identify the target audience. Maybe not everyone in the organization, but all those key stakeholders who will help them take the decision. Moving on to the next stage, the thoughts we had here is yeah, there are a couple of tools or platforms that are cost efficient, but the neutral thought says that there are multiple vendors. Who do we actually check with? And my worrying thought says that if we move to the next tool or a platform, will that be really beneficial to all of us? Because it comes with a learning overhead, right? We want entire organization to learn that tool and then get acquainted with it. Here, what we did is we got some of our members, all those key stakeholders, to learn about the features and offering the new platform has got to offer, and then do the calculation on budget and do the benefit hypothesis. Now, benefit hypothesis, most of you probably are aware of this term. This is where we try and understand for anything that we are going to the new platform or new product, will that be a beneficial? So this is what we do in the benefit hypothesis. Again, the same teams were involved in this phase: product management and product owner. Under choose stage, the happy thought says that some of we had thinking that um, research does help with the better options and offerings in the market. Again, the neutral thought says finalizing the best options would be a challenge, because with this competitive market, we have many good providers, vendors who are offering the same thing with just one or two features or benefits here and there. Worrying thought says that, do we have any existing case studies in the market that will help us reduce the analysis that we are going to do, the impact analysis we are going to do? What if there is no any such case in the market? That is going to consume some of our time. This is where what we do is we do the market research, we compare the better option. Again, the two involved here are product management and product owner. Now apply is where we get into prototyping thing. We come up with POC. So the thoughts here were let's check the benefit and feedbacks with running some POCs and not doing the big bang theory. The neutral thought says that POCs to run for multiple teams. Should we run it for multiple teams, or just one POC should be okay? And maybe it will be again time consuming activity to get the feedbacks from the user. So this is where what we did is we finalized the tool. Now that we've decided that we'll migrate to a new platform, this is where we define a migration strategy, and we set up the feedback loop with the team. Now this here you'll see another role getting involved: agile team. Now this is where the development team comes into the picture and they start working on this migration. Under migration stage, the thoughts were that let's have phase delivery so that we meet the team's expectations. This could take some time, but I think it will be a beneficial approach. And then the worrying thought says that it may take a long time because there'll be a lot of unknowns in the delivery. Every team works in a different fashion, so every team maintains their data in a different fashion. Though we are on the same platform, this is the worry that we some of us did express here. In migration, what we did, we had the phase delivery. We ran the UAT and we got the early feedback, especially from the Scrum Masters, because they are thoroughly involved with the team and who could help us in the best possible way. And the roles involved here were product management, product owner, agile team, and stakeholders. When I talk about stakeholders, these are some of our business users and the product owners, or for that matter, proxy product owners, who are the key contributors in this migration strategy. With that, I come to the last stage. This is where we had the successful migration for all the teams. But again, the neutral thought that the team mentioned, that would we require a refactoring? Now, when we talk about refactoring, everything gets refactored. There is no choice to it. Let's take an example of our mobile phones. Every now and then we receive the updates just to make sure that our phone works even in a better way, in a faster way. So this is nothing but the refactoring. With this, we got our teams successfully migrated from the old ALM platform to the new ALM platform. So with this case study, I do want to mention that this design thinking is possibly can help you in any way that you can just think of. Like Shankar rightly mentioned, it can actually start from sending an email and see how the recipient would react on that. Some of the things that I do want to mention here is some some of the success factors in order to achieve this successful transformation. Now that every one of us are working remotely, um, we are making the best use of easily available, freely available online platform, Miro being one of the examples. So with that, we ran some of the problem solving workshops, some of the problems that took us little while to come with a solution. So this is where we got the team involved. Now, if I can relate this back to the actionable states, learn and apply is where this is applicable. This is where second was PI planning. Many of them also like to call it as a release planning. This is where we define our iterations, what we'll achieve in that. If I have to relate this with the actionable states, decide and choose is where it gets applicable. And last but not the least, retrospectives. Now, retrospective is one of the finest ceremonies that I like to conduct because it's more of a session. Learning session. We share our experiences from the iteration, and this is where it gets applicable or implies to learn and apply actionable stage of the design thinking. So with that, I do want to conclude this case study. I hope it was helpful, and you'll go back and try to apply. Starting from anything, you can, what I suggest is you keep doing something that you're already doing. Do not stop it, and then start implementing all these concepts of design thinking. With this, I'll hand it back to Shraddha for the conclusion.
Thank you, Tejas. Yes, so we wanted to present these two case studies which really helped the way we have implemented design thinking thought process in from Dojo perspective as well as the ALM transition perspective. And to conclude, I just want to mention that BMC India was just recognized at the annual Zinov Awards for our world-class site operations. And recently, BMC India was also ranked 8th among the India's best places to work for. This was like BMC moves up by 2 places since last year. Last year it was ranked 10 and now it's ranked 8 in the annual survey which was issued by the Economic Times. And it's really incredible testament to the team's ability to run and reinvent, demonstrating that BMC India is a choice destination for innovation, professional growth, and personal fulfillment. So with that, we would like to conclude the session and opening up for any questions if we have time.
Great presentation, Shraddha and Tejas. So
Thank
we do
you.
have a couple of questions. With the interest of time, I think we'll restrict it to just two, and the rest I think we can take it offline. Okay, the first question what you have received is from VJ. How does agile and design thinking connect? If we can just cover it in just one or two bullet points.
Okay, so see, agile is like gets connected from every stage, even if it is design thinking. All the 6 stages what we have seen. Again, it starts from the problem. If you have a problem or anything you are trying to develop, or coming up with a new project, you have to be agile in thinking. You have to have that agile mindset. You have to move from fixed to growth mindset. So we do run in iterations, even if it is like from starting with the ideation or empathizing phase, we do run in iterations. We have to have a team and we need to have a setup time box thing, whether it is 2 weeks or 3 weeks of iteration, and then make sure that everything what you're doing gets implementing. The first and the foremost thing would be getting the faster feedback. The thought process what you are trying to build, make it available or demoable to the customers at every stage, and make sure that you are thinking into the right direction. That is what the customer needs. And instead of doing it in a waterfalling system and demoing it to the customer at the end where the customer needs might have changed. So I think that should answer your question.
All right. So Pramod is asking, what is the motivation factor for the employees to go for different level of builds?
Yeah.
Is it rewards, new skill learning, or mandate from organization for dojo?
It's all three. It's a combination of all three. So we are really lucky that we are working in BMC, and I cannot brag enough about BMC. So rewards is definitely in terms of the different swag items we get moving from one belt to another. There is an educational assistance policy in place from BMC, which makes sure that you go for different kinds of certifications as needed to pursue in your career. And definitely company invests in education of employees as well. Our organization has made 80 hours of learning as a mandatory for the entire fiscal year, that you have to go and attain it. That is part and parcel of the work that you come up with. The other motivation factors are the kind this builds and the criteria have been designed. It's not just the projects or the training. They also get an opportunity to work as a mentor, to work or to participate in various sessions, whether it is sparring sessions, debating sessions, presenting in various forums, getting speaker opportunity inside and outside BMC, and getting involved in various initiatives. So it is a mixture or a combination of all of these things which makes you move from one bill to another.
So it's a healthy organization with great relationship between the employees and the employer
Yes.
that makes uh, a great recipe for success. Correct?
Yes, and just to add one more thing, we are right now in a process of publishing a white paper on Dojo, which is expected to go outside in a week or 10 days or so. So I'll definitely share that link on LinkedIn so that you will get more detailed insights about it, how this program has worked for BMC.
Definitely. I hope our ANI members would be great benefited from your case study
Absolutely.
to
Yep.
adopt it as part of their work. Sure. Thank you, Shraddha and Tejas. And it
Thank
was great.
you.
It was great having you for the event.